Hi, I'm Mason, 33, and I thought I was finally about to give my parents the one thing they never stopped talking about: a trip around the world. All expenses paid, luxury cabins, their own private balcony to watch the sun rise over endless oceans. I spent months planning it. Picked the best cruise line. Added upgrades they didn't even know existed: gourmet dining, spa treatments, helicopter excursions over island chains. It cost more than my car, but I didn't care. This was their 45th wedding anniversary. I was going to give them something unforgettable. They just forgot me. Asterisk, I should have known when they didn't cry. I told them about the cruise over dinner at their favorite Italian restaurant, expecting gasps, hugs, tears, maybe even a joke from my dad about how I'd finally done something useful. But they just smiled, said thank you like I'd fixed their cable. My mom added, "Oh, that'll be fun," and my dad immediately asked if it had a pudding green. Not even a pause to digest it. Still, I chalked it up to shock. They didn't ask a single question about the itinerary. They didn't open the envelope I gave them until we were walking to the car. When I offered to go over the ports of Colrone, Santorini, Bali, Sydney, they waved me off. "We'll read it later," my mom said. "We trust you." 2 days before departure, I got the call. I was at work, closing out invoices for a freelance design client, when my mom's name popped up. I answered, cheerful, already picturing them packing. I figured she was going to ask if she needed a passport holder or maybe where I'd pack the printouts. But she wasn't calling for packing tips. She was calling to tell me I wasn't going. "We hope you don't take this the wrong way," she said, her voice chipper in a way that made my stomach sink. "But we've invited someone else." I blinked. "What?" "Well, you know, Lorraine. She hasn't traveled much, and she could really use this." Lorraine, my estranged cousin. The one who once called me uptight Mason at a Christmas party because I asked her not to hotbox the garage. The one who hadn't spoken to our family in 6 years after a screaming match over a board game. The one who got arrested for keying her ex's truck and blamed it on astrology and tequila. They were bringing her. "She's just more fun," my mom said. Like that explained everything. I didn't say anything for a moment. Just stared at my computer screen where the cruise confirmation was still open, the digital tickets in my name, along with theirs. The upgraded suite with 3 guests. The one I'd paid for. I'd booked it thinking maybe, just maybe, they'd see me differently. Not as the quiet, dependable one. Not as the family errand runner. But as someone who could give. Someone who mattered. But instead of seeing the gift, they saw a way to bring someone else. I canceled my ticket that night, quietly. No drama. No announcement. I deleted the group chat I'd made for cruise countdown updates. I even packed an unused itinerary folder into a box, slid it under my bed, and didn't tell anyone. They left the next morning. 2 days later, my phone buzzed. A photo. My parents on the deck, sunglasses on, arms wrapped around Lorraine. Caption, "Smooth sailing." I didn't reply. I didn't even open it fully. That was the first boundary I'd ever set, and it scared the hell out of me. Asterisk. The worst part wasn't that they replaced me. It was how little they seemed to notice I was gone. In the week after they set sail with Lorraine in my place, I didn't hear from them once. Not "I wish you were here," not a stray message. Not even a comment about the absurdly expensive in-cabin espresso machine I'd included as a surprise. Nothing. But I did see the posts. Lorraine had apparently rediscovered Facebook. Her entire feed was now a rolling documentary of their cruise. My dad doing Tai Chi on the upper deck badly. My mom in a chef's hat during a pasta making class. All 3 of them posing in front of waterfalls, sunsets, and buffets so excessive they looked like prop tables from a Roman orgy. The captions stung more than the images. Finally, making real memories with the best people. Laughing so hard my stomach hurts. This is what family's supposed to feel like. You can't choose blood, but sometimes you can fix what got broken. That last one. Lorraine had tagged my mother. I stared at that for a long time, the cursor blinking over an empty comment box. My thumbs hovering like I was about to type something, anything, but ID in single quotes T. Instead, I closed the app and opened a notepad file. I wrote a list. Things I'd paid for, just to see it. Cruise suite triple occupancy, $27,900. Upgraded dining package, $6,250. Round-trip business class tickets for two, $13,400 premium spa credit, $1,200 surprise Amalfi. Coast excursion, $3,800 international roaming SIM cards, $160 bon voyage. Luggage set, $900 personalized cruise journal, handmade. $120 champagne breakfast package daily, $2,700. Port transfer driver tipped extra for being early, $380 total, $568,100. Stared at that number until it stopped feeling like money and started feeling like shame. Because here's the part I hadn't told anyone. That money wasn't sitting in a vault. I'd cashed out a retirement account for it. A matching Roth from a company I don't even work at anymore. Penalties, fees, taxes. Also, I could give my parents a memory. Something beautiful. Something they'd hold onto and say, "Our son gave us this." But I didn't give it to them. I gave it to Lorraine, the only photo I had from the trip. One of the three of them in matching captain's crew hats. Mid-laugh, mouths wide, sunglasses crooked. Like they were in a beer commercial. I saved it anyway. Then I opened my email and archived the cruise confirmation. I was about to delete it. I hovered over the trash icon, but something in me paused. I moved it to a new folder called Evidence. I didn't know what for, but I had a feeling I'd need it. The cruise ended 2 weeks later, when I picked them up from the airport, a favor I hadn't even been asked for, but somehow still offered. My mom acted like nothing had happened. She hugged me quickly and said, "Oh, you should have seen the jellyfish lagoon. Mason, just magical." My dad added, "And your cousin, a riot. She made the whole thing 10 times better. That girl has stories." I didn't ask what stories. I didn't ask anything. Just carried their bags to the car like the loyal chauffeur I'd apparently been downgraded to. Back at their house, my mom paused before going inside. "You really did something special for us," she said. "I hope you know that." I nodded. "Glad you enjoyed it." She hesitated just for a second and added, "And you know, Lorraine's been through a lot. It was good for her too." There it was again. That nudge. That gentle redirection away from what I had done, back toward what Lorraine had needed. I waited until they were inside before I got back in the car. And then I just sat there, hands on the wheel, staring at the dashboard like it might give me a clue about what to do next. I had given them a gift, and they had given me a message in return. "You're generous, but not essential." And maybe, just maybe, that was about to change. Asterisk. They didn't see it coming, honestly. Neither did I. It started as a petty impulse. Something quiet. Nothing explosive. But it became something else entirely because I was done being invisible. 2 weeks after the cruise, I got a call from the cruise line. A polite woman named Candace. She wanted feedback on the experience of our premium guests. She meant me. My name was still listed as the primary passenger on the booking. I almost said no. I almost hung up. But then I asked a single question. "Can you tell me who signed the waiver for the helicopter excursion in Santorini?" She paused, clicked, then replied, "It appears Ms. Lorraine Preston signed for all 3 guests. Is that a concern, Mr. Layton?" That's when it clicked. My name paid for it, but I wasn't listed on anything, not even the thank you card they sent out afterward, addressed only to the Prestons. That night, I opened my laptop. I didn't write a letter. I didn't post a dramatic message on social media. I sent an invoice, a full professional invoice. Clean header, line items for every dollar. Due upon receipt. Attached a PDF titled, "World Cruise Invoice, Layton Family." I CC'd both of my parents and added a note, "Since I wasn't considered essential enough to accompany you on this journey, and since the 3rd ticket was not used as originally intended, I assume there's no objection to reimbursing the portion of the trip attributed to that change. Please remit $18,937 for the unused guest slot." No hard feelings, just accountability. I stared at it for a long time before I hit send. I didn't expect a reply, but I got one the next morning. From my dad. Subject line: "Don't do this." His message was short. "This is beneath you. You were generous. Why ruin it? We didn't mean to hurt you." I didn't reply. Later that day, I saw Lorraine's Facebook status change to "well, some people will really send you a BILL for being part of their family," and underneath, a flood of comments, "you're better than them," and "grateful much." Sounds like someone's jealous. I screenshotted it, I archived it, and then I made a decision. I'd been preparing to take my parents to the same cruise line's Alaskan voyage next summer, something they always said they dreamed of. I'd already paid the deposit. That night, I called and canceled it. The cruise rep sounded surprised. "Was it the itinerary?" "No," I said. "It was the passengers." Then I sent one final message in our family group chat. "I wanted to give you something unforgettable." And I did. I just didn't realize I wasn't part of the memory. Double quotes silence. Then my mom left the group. No apology. No explanation. But a few hours later, a Venmo notification appeared. "You've received $18,937 from Lorraine Preston," with a single emoji in the memo line. A mask. I didn't respond. I transferred the money to a new savings account I called Reclamation Fund. It wasn't just about the money anymore. It was about writing the story they'd refused to. The story where I wasn't the one begging to be seen. I was the one drawing the map. Asterisk, you'd think that would have ended at the invoice, the Venmo transfer, the silence. But humiliation doesn't always make people reflect. Sometimes it makes them retaliate. The text started slowly, a drip feed of guilt. First from my mom, "You've made your point. Can we move on?" Then from my dad, "This is childish. Mason, you're lucky we even let you gift us something that generous." Let me. That phrase clanged in my head like a dropped wrench. Let me. As if generosity was permission-based. I ignored them. But then Lorraine upped the game. She emailed the cruise line, claimed she was the original buyer, that I'd hijacked the booking, that I was harassing her for a gift she had given my parents. She attached screenshots of her Facebook posts to prove she was the intended third guest and demanded they correct the narrative. I only knew because a manager forwarded it to me with a warning. "Mr. Layton, we've received some contradictory statements regarding your reservation. We are investigating the discrepancy. In the meantime, we've paused your loyalty program account pending review." My loyalty program account. The one I'd built through years of saving points for future trips. The one I dreamed of using to take myself just once somewhere spectacular. Iceland, the Northern Lights. Somewhere no one else would claim. Gone. Because Lorraine wanted the story back. So I sent one final email. To the cruise line's legal team. I attached every receipt, my bank transactions, my booking confirmation, my original travel insurance policy with my name on it, the copy of the invoice Lorraine paid with her emoji memo, screenshots of her brag posts from the cruise. And then I attached something new, a notarized affidavit stating that I had no relationship with Lorraine beyond familial blood, had not given her permission to use or represent my name in any official capacity, and considered her publicly misrepresenting the booking an attempt to defraud my reputation and associated accounts. 40-8 hours later, I got a call from the cruise line. Apology. Full reinstatement. They even offered me a future trip credit for the inconvenience. I didn't take it, because this wasn't about free perks anymore. This was about reclaiming my narrative, and not just from Lorraine. 3 days later, I drove to my parents' house. Unannounced. They were on the porch. Dad in his lawn chair, Mom watering planters. She saw me first, eyes narrowing like she didn't know whether to wave or brace for impact. I didn't shout, didn't bring receipts. I just sat down across from them, calm. "I need you to hear this," I said. Not to reply, not to defend. "Just listen." They nodded. And I said, "I gave you a gift that meant more to me than you realized. Not because of the money, but because I thought maybe, just maybe, it would finally make me feel included, like a real part of this family. Instead, you used it as a gateway to invite someone else into a memory I was never allowed to have. And then, when I asked for accountability, you made me the villain. You said I was lucky you let me give it to you. That's not gratitude. That's control." They didn't interrupt. Not once. When I finished, my dad just looked tired. My mom looked like she might cry but didn't. "You replaced me with someone who hasn't called you in 6 years," I said. And that told me exactly where I stood. I stood to leave. My hands didn't shake. "You can have Lorraine," I said. You just don't get to have me anymore. Not like this. And I walked to my car. Halfway down the street, I pulled over, not to cry, but to breathe, because for the first time in my life, I didn't feel like the overlooked one. I felt like someone who'd finally chosen himself. Asterisk. It's been 6 months. I haven't spoken to my parents since that afternoon on the porch, not out of anger anymore, out of clarity. I used to think distance was something people threatened with, something dramatic, something that made you feel hollow after you chose it. But turns out, it's not empty at all. It's full of space. Room to breathe, room to rebuild, room to rewrite the story they kept stealing from me. After that day, I made changes. Big ones. I moved, closed out the apartment near their suburb and rented a studio in a neighborhood where no one knows my name or my history. I bought new mugs, a new set of sheets, a new router password I didn't share with anyone. I started going on solo walks again, something I hadn't done since college. Not the kind of walks you take because you're sad or lonely. The kind where you look up and notice the trees, the dogs, the way every sunset feels a little different when you don't spend the whole evening staring into other people's approval. I took myself out for dinner. Just me. A booth by the window. A journal. No one to entertain. No one to impress. And somewhere between the appetizer and dessert, I realized I don't miss them. Not really. I miss the version of them I used to imagine when I was a kid. The ones who said things like, "We're so proud of you," when I brought home a B. The ones who clapped at my piano recital even though I botched the third verse. The ones who I thought would one day look at me, not what I gave them, not what I paid for, but me, and say, "You matter." But those people were always mostly a dream. They existed in fragments, in birthday cards with generic love and in photos where I was always just off to the side. I stopped chasing that version. Instead, I started chasing something else. A month after the confrontation, I booked myself a cruise. Just one ticket. Different cruise line, different continent, no frills, no family discount. I picked the route at random: South America to Antarctica. Icebergs and puffins and a long stretch of water where there's no Wi-Fi and no one to post about how spiritual it all is. Before I boarded, I took a photo of my own boarding pass. Just mine. No rain, no captain's crew hats, no matching t-shirts. I texted it to myself with the caption, "This time, the seat is mine." The trip was quiet, slow, beautiful. I didn't share any of it online. Not because I was hiding, because I didn't need to prove to anyone that I belonged. I already did. When I got back, there was a letter waiting in my mailbox. Real paper, slanted handwriting I knew too well, from my mother. "Mason, we've been doing a lot of thinking. Lorraine's staying with her sister now. Your dad's heart medicine got adjusted. I know what we did hurt you. I see that now. I guess we didn't realize how much you've changed, how much you've grown. We want you back. You don't have to forgive us. Just maybe consider visiting for Thanksgiving. Love, Mom." I folded the letter slowly, placed it on my desk, sat with it for an hour. Then I wrote back, "Thank you for writing. But I haven't changed. You just never saw me before. I won't be at Thanksgiving. I'll be in Iceland, watching the northern lights, alone, on purpose." And for the first time, I wouldn't change a thing. I dropped it in the mailbox without a second thought. There's a peace that comes when you stop begging people to see you and start seeing yourself. Instead, I was always the gift. They just didn't know how to open it. But I do now, and that's more than enough.